no, maybe not. But anyway, let me just while folks are coming up for a minute, I'll include my little observations about the world in answering your questions, so I won't go on for too long, like a stand-up comedian. Well, you know, it's like you bring the worst out of me. So I've been busy. I've been what have I been doing? Had my hair cut because I'm in a show, but I'm not allowed to tell you what the show is. So there. It's so weird, you know. There's so many shows now that are all sort of like very private and confidential. So it's great for me because I'm generally a character that comes in and goes, "Go away, be banished," and then I get banished and get written out of the show. But if I say to you, "I'm in a show and I can't talk to you about it," it makes you think that I'm very, very important. So I'll bask in that for a few days, you know, until you actually realize what I'm really doing in the show, but it doesn't matter, I'm having fun. What else is going on? Oh, I know. I did a show in Chicago last year for Amazon Prime called Patriot. I don't know if anybody of you have seen it. Yay! So I really had a good time, and it's going to season 2, which starts shooting in August, which is very exciting. And I've had enough about talking about me. What about some of you folks? Now, I do apologise, and especially to Mum. Mum, I do walk around a lot. Sorry, but I'm going to walk around over here. Hello, how are you doing?
Good.
Good.
So you worked in stage, television, and movies.
Yeah.
Can you tell us which is your favorite and why?
All right. Everybody here okay? Hear the questions? I don't need to repeat it. Okay. Stage, television, and movies. Well, you know, they're all very, very different. I grew up in the theatre, so it was a big learning curve for me changing my acting style. As you can see, I'm kind of a physical guy. I'm not the sort of guy that, you know, there's a lot of British actors that sort of, you know, sort of do with it, sort of Jeremy Irons, you know. Sort of like, I really like him, but, you know, he's sort of, you know, he's very acts up here in this sort of very thing. I hope he's not watching. Jeremy, I think you're great. This could be the end of my career. You realise that? Jesus. Anyway, now there's a particular kind of, and especially not necessarily British, but a lot of actors work with different parts of their body. I am a very physical actor. I grew up in a physical, almost like a dance kind of expression. So I used my whole body. I worked in Europe for a while, learning to express things physically, and I did very imagistic, weird, sort of avant-garde shows. So for me to suddenly be constrained into a television screen, you know, and back in the day they were small television screens, couldn't really be. I'm going to take this off. I'm scared that I'm going to try to be very cool, and then suddenly it's going to go plonk. Anyway, so I'll take this. So I was worried that I couldn't. Certain energy is good for the television. A certain energy is good for the big screen in movies. And you know, they're different canvases, right? Just like pictures and paintings. And so I had to kind of learn how to work for the small screen and for the camera. So it was a big deal, but I loved it. So when you ask which is my favorite, I guess it's most challenging for me to work for television because it's the medium where you have to be most controlled and you have to kind of reduce what you're doing down to the bare minimum, but still be very alive in the moment, right? But it's not about a favorite or not a favorite, it's just a very different technique, and it's the one that comes least naturally to me. And like Rich was saying, how funny it is when you see death, you know, because there's that whole persona of death. Well, that's a persona, and it's great fun for me to do, but it's not naturally, because I'm much more this kind of a person. Well, I don't think death would look very elegant. Hey, have some pizza, Dean. I don't think it'll go down too well, or, you know, getting out of the Cadillac, sort of like, hi! Right. So that's, anyway, it's the thing I've worked at most. But what I tend to do is I do act physically. So that even with the character of Death, for instance, the way that I hold myself and the way that I act with my body is very important to me. And for me, it expresses a lot, more often than the words, the way that you are physically. Oh, that was a long-winded answer, but thank you for the question.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you. Great, thank you. Hello.
Hi.
You were the bravest because you came up very first of all. I think you should get a special round of applause.
So my question was, like, what was your favorite thing about playing Death? Because he's such a big character that like everyone knows who Death is. So what was your favorite?
Well, that was part of the fun of it, really, because everybody knows how powerful he is, and in many seasons before my appearance, we knew that Death, there were Reapers, that he was a very strong presence in the world of Supernatural. So for me, the great thing was that I didn't have to push that at all. So in fact, the one thing that I didn't do was to say, you know, how strong, how foreboding, how powerful I am. I didn't have to do that because we knew. And you guys knew because of the world of Supernatural, but also because the way, and particularly Jensen in that first scene in the pizza parlor, I think, yeah, was that a spontaneous round of applause? I think that's Jensen. But the way it was set up, the way he played that he was scared of me, really scared, right? And when your fellow actor is doing the work for you, it's terrific because you can. Well, I don't mean like he was doing my lines or anything. I mean like work, you know, like it takes two to make a scene, right? And often, you know, actors like everybody else can be selfish or not so much selfish, but worried about how they look, like we all do in life, right? You know, and you're in a situation or you're in a conversation where you're so worried about what you're saying, you're not actually listening to the other person. And that's something we all know about, right? Well, it happens in acting too. And for me, I was so lucky because he was so like there, but playing the scene. So I knew, oh, well, he's playing and he's really scared of me and he doesn't know what to make of me. So I can just be very relaxed. And so, you know, and enjoy the pizza. And because the thing was, although I enjoyed it too much, and I had too many mouthfuls in my first take, and that's a problem. Because repeating it 50 times, spit bucket. Anyway, we won't go to those details. But yeah, so what I liked about it was that actually I didn't have to play any of the cliches of Death. Right? I played enjoyment of food, enjoyment of this young, cheeky man who I sort of regarded with great warmth, and a sort of fascination of what was going on. So I didn't have to overplay my hand, and I think it makes for more fun. And I should just add to that, when you get an introduction like I was given, well, that's a gift in itself, right? Because I was set up so well as being an extremely powerful man not to be messed with. So, there you go. Thank you. Hello.
First of all, thank you for coming. We
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing you since we knew you were coming, so
Oh,
thank you.
well, I appreciate it.
My question actually kind of follows up with what you were just talking about. How did you feel how you were written out of the show with him killing you after you'd helped them so much?
It's funny, you know, I get asked that a lot, right? And most actors, especially a character actor like myself, knows that at some point they're going to read the script and go, oh dear. Oh, I guess that means I'm not in it anymore. But the thing is that with the universe of Supernatural, we all know that people die, come back, and die. And also, it's funny, in our world of television, I'm doing another show which has loops of time in it. And you see one person and they get killed in one time loop, but maybe they'll come in another one. You know what I mean? It's so our sense of narrative has changed to the point where if I see that my character's been killed in the script, I kind of go, oh, okay. But it doesn't bother me too much. Now, I don't also have so much invested. I think it would be worse for other characters, let's say. But it's a bit of a shock. However, I gotta say that I totally get it in the same way that I really enjoyed the way that my character was written in those early scenes in the pizza parlor and you know, with the hot dogs and stuff. They were very funny. What a great way to end the season with a finale where it's like, I think I've just killed death. I mean, what a great idea. And so that's true to the spirit of the show. And you know, an actor like myself who's a character actor sort of takes that as part of the business, you know. And also, to be honest with you, I don't necessarily accept that he's gone. I mean, who knows? Who knows? Thank you. Hello.
So, best introduction is definitely most memorable. Sorry. It's definitely one of the most memorable, I think, in Supernatural. Did you get any say, like music, or how you were introduced?
No, I was amazed. When I saw it and I heard that Jen Titus song, it was fantastic, right? I mean, so I didn't know. But I can tell you I can reveal a few of the dirty little secrets behind it, right, that none of you really know, because it's such a cool sequence, right, with the, you know, the Cadillac coming up, and then, you know, the leg, and then the figure, but really, what's going on, if you had a sort of an outtake camera of what was really going on, the AD says to me, so get in this car, and then you have to drive it around the corner, past the camera, and end at that mark over there, okay? So I sort of go, yeah, sure, it's my first day on set, right? So actors always go, yes! Can you ride horses? Yes! Can you fight lions and tigers? Yes! Give me the job. So of course I said, yes, I can drive it. So I get in the car, and I try the steering wheel, and the steering wheel goes like this. It's like a boat, right? And then I had to drive past cameras and all sorts of things. So actually, what's going on, you know, you hear that wonderful music and you see the car coming up and there's this elegant foot comes out. Really, I'm going, ah! Getting out of the car. Oh, dear. Anyway, that apart, dirty little secrets of set. That apart, I had no idea. I knew that it was a great setup. But you know, when you shoot a sequence like that, it's very much like shooting a rock video, where it's very bitty, right? Well, like, you know, my finger, my ring, my cane, my foot, you know, my shoulder, all that stuff. So it's not really like I got a sense of what it would finally look like. I had a sense of all the bits, but I didn't ever see it all stitched together with that wonderful song. So that was a surprise to me. So it was a very nice surprise. And I gotta say, it was one of the opposite of here. It was one of the coldest days I've ever filmed on. And I don't know if you can tell in that whole sequence, but people are freezing. And maybe that's what gives it that kind of feeling that everybody's cold and damp and worried or something, but we are absolutely freezing. I think we did it really early in the morning because we had a long day. We had to shoot the pizza sequence afterwards. And I think, you know, we were there at daylight, and it was just a windy, blustery day. And I think everybody actually has coats on, and there's stuff blowing around. We didn't even need special fans to blow the stuff around. It was really cold. Secrets of the trade. All right, thank you for your question. Thank you. Oh. Hello.
Hi again.
How are you?
I got to see you in Vegas.
Yeah, that's right.
It's so
That's
sweet
right.
there.
Cool. Well, it's not cool, it's hot.
I want to take your conversation back just a teeny tiny bit when you were talking about the weather. I'm from Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
I know you've probably been there with the cons, and you get to travel a lot with the cons.
Yeah.
Considering this is my second one.
Right.
And you're from England, correct?
I'm from England originally, and I've been living in Canada for about 25 years.
My cousin moved from Georgia to Canada.
Right.
But I have a serious question about the weather with you. My daughter just turned 18 and is applying to colleges, and she wants to travel abroad. I lived in Italy and loved it.
Yes.
Granted, it was 2004.
So I want to know what would be the perfect place for her to go to college, whether it be in the U.S., Canada, Europe, anywhere in the world,
Well,
to go to college for like the perfect experience and weather.
well, I'll start with my serious answer, and then I'll give you my flippant one. The serious answer, of course, is a parent where it's really up to the child and whatever her, what is her daughter, right?
Yeah, she's obsessed with you. She's watching
She's
now.
obsessed with me. Foolish girl.
We took a picture of you because of my husband's death last year. And so,
Okay, I remember, yeah.
Yeah, so
So-
she's watching you now.
Hello,
Hi,
hello, hello.
Adrian.
So, really, of course, it depends on so many things and whatever opportunities are the most for the individual. But on a purely fun level, in terms of climate, I loved it in Georgia, by the way. I thought I couldn't believe how green everything was and how it was. The first time I went was for the Calm there earlier this year.
Wow.
So no, last year. Sorry, last year. Weather's a funny thing, and no matter where you are, it seems to be the main topic of conversation. So I'm used to saying in Canada, it's like, cold enough, eh? Cold enough for you? You know, all that stuff. And of course here it's about the heat. And, you know, and now in Canada it's too rainy because we've had a very rainy spring. And then of course it gets too dry too quickly and people complain and the farmers complain and we all complain. So it is one of those perpetual things, but I got to say the east coast of North America, from up north down to, I guess, to Florida, here in the south, it's pretty gorgeous and pretty lush.
For
So
going to Ireland, Scotland, or England? 'Cause that's
I love it.
Heart set there.
I love it, but you know, so one place, my hometown's Oxford. I grew up in Oxford. And love it there, rainy, and whenever I go back, I gotta say that I actually, as you know, I live in Canada now, which is notoriously cold, but when I go back to England, I go back to Oxford, London, some of those places in the middle of England, I'm cold, and it's because of the dampness, it's because of the way that the weather is, so it's just different degrees, but good luck to your daughter, good luck, darling. I hope you have a wonderful time, and let's all send her our love.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right.
Hi. Just want to say I love Dad. Hope Dad comes back from a holiday. And,
It's a nice
here's
way
a
to
two-part question for you. Who was your favorite character besides Dad? And did you get to keep your cane?
Well, I'm doing photo ops with it later. So, no, I didn't get to keep the cane, but I love the suit too. There you go. My mum really thought that I looked very smart. She did have an issue with my hair because it's a bit straggly, but she thought I looked very nice. Or the question.
Favorite character? besides
Yeah.
Dad?
Favorite character. It's very hard. You know, you have. I've said this before that as somebody like me comes into the show and I sort of see like I parachute drop into it and I see a very intense little bit of the show and then I go away again and I check in and I know what's going on, but not in the same way. Not in the same way that probably you folks do. You know, you consistently followed it. I do follow it, but not the same degree of attention as when I'm directly involved. So I have these pockets of knowledge. And I've got to say that it tends to be the family that we have here with the Cons too, because we've grown up to know and like each other. So I like God. I like God. I think he's a good musician, God is. Who'd have known? Who'd have known? And I promise not to reap him. You know, I think we've made a pact, you know, because I say that in that one time, I don't know who's older, but I've accepted that I look older. God looks cuter than me. And now, whenever people have asked me that before, people always expect me to come up with like one of the boring